Hi everyone, today I will explore the city of Aachen, Germany. Aachen, Germany is a historic city near the borders of Belgium and the Netherlands, known for its rich history, medieval architecture, and vibrant cultural scene. As the westernmost city in Germany, Aachen has a fascinating mix of German, Belgian, and Dutch influences. The city's most famous landmark is the Aachen Cathedral, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Europe's oldest cathedrals founded by Charlemagne in the 8th century. It features a unique blend of Carolingian and Gothic architectural styles, and its Palatine Chapel is particularly renowned for its intricate mosaics and octagonal designs. The cathedral also houses Charlemagne's throne and is where German kings were crowned for centuries. The city's most famous landmark is the Aachen Cathedral, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Europe's oldest cathedrals founded by Charlemagne in the 8th century. It features a unique blend of Carolingian and Gothic architectural styles, and its Palatine Chapel is particularly known for its intricate mosaics and octagonal designs. The cathedral also houses Charlemagne's throne and is where German kings were crowned for centuries. Aachen Town Hall was built in the first half of the 14th century under the leadership of Mayor Gerhard Koros, 1285 to 1367. The new hall also hosted the traditional coronation feast that was part of the coronation ceremony of the Holy Roman Empire. Before that, the coronation was held at the nearby mid-13th century Grass House, which is one of the city's oldest still-standing building nowadays. Construction began in 1330 on top of the foundation walls of the Aula Regia, part of the relic palace of Aachen built during the Carolingian dynasty. Dating from the time of Charlemagne, the Granus Tower and masonry from the era were incorporated into south side of the building. The structure was completed in 1349, and while the town hall served as the administrative center of the city, part of the city's munition and weaponry was housed in the Granus Tower, which also served as a prison for some time. Since 1380, the entrance of Emperor Stairs, Kaiser Treppe, which connected the subterranean levels of Coronation Hall, was adorned by the limestone relief of the Three Kings and depiction of the adoration of the Magi. 4 limestone blocks form a relief, with one serving for each king and the last depicting Mary and Jesus. In 1798, during the French period, the relief was partially destroyed and the remaining pieces were left as they were above the entrance to the main guard station. The medieval artwork was then replaced by Gottfried Gotting with a replica in 1879. Before World War II, it was then transferred to the local museum, Heimat Museum in Aachen, and disappeared during the war time. During the Great Fire of Aachen in 1656, portions of the roof and towers burned. The destroyed elements were then replaced in a Baroque style. From 1727 to 1732, the chief architect of Aachen, Johann Joseph Coven, led a fundamental Baroque remodeling of the structure, especially of the front facade and entry steps. The Gothic figures and munten adorning the windows were removed, and even the interior was remodeled in the Baroque style. Today, the sitting room and the White Hall both still convey this change in style. Characteristic of the time period, the wood paneling of the White Hall is in the style of Aachen-Liet's Baroque master Jacques Deroux, while the wall paintings come from the master painter Johann Christian Bolenrath. This hall was originally for a panel of jurors to control the quality of cloth produced in Aachen, but the space would later serve as the main office for the mayor of Aachen. At the treaty signing ceremony that ended the War of Austrian Succession in 1748, the Peace Hall was set up but not used because of a dispute between the envoys. As a compensation, the city obtained portraits of the envoys, which are present in the various spaces of the city hall. Since the end of the imperial city era and the Napoleonic occupation of the area, the structural condition of the city hall was neglected and the building was seen to be falling apart by 1840. Under the guidance and patronage of the 19th century, chief architect Frederick Joseph Arc, the building was rebuilt in a new Gothic style, preserving its original Gothic elements. The side of the city hall that faced the market was adorned with statues of 50 kings, as well as symbols of art, science, and Christianity. The coronation hall was also restored and a new entrance was constructed. In addition, the painter Alfred Rethel had a task to embellish the room with a large series of frescoes. Begun in 1847 and completed by his student in 1861, the frescoes eventually depicted legends from the life of Charlemagne. After the destruction of several artwork in the Neues Museum in Berlin, this painting is one of the most important testimonies to the late Romantic style in Germany. Starting from a fire in the Johann Peter Joseph Munhendrag at Material Warehouse at 26 Antonio Street, flames first spread when cinder from the roof landed on the Granus Tower and set it ablaze. Within 4 hours, the roof and both towers of the City Hall were aflame, as well as a large number of surrounding houses on the south side of the market. Within City Hall, the Coronation Hall with its frescoes by Alfred Rethel, as well as the building's first floor, was spared. In the time immediately following the fire, its roof and towers were kept erect through makeshift structures of support. On 1st November 1884, the city of Aachen started a contest among German architects for the purpose of rebuilding the City Hall. Out of the 13 submitted drafts design, the first prize went to Aachen architect George Frentzen, who in 1891 was commissioned to rebuild the building and its towers. The restoration of the inner rooms was performed under the leadership of Joseph Laurent. The work was accomplished by Karl Kraus. The restoration took 18 years to complete, finished in 1902 after the unveiling of the Rathaus took place with the presence of Kaiser Wilhelm II. Aachen City Hall had survived World War I without sustaining damage, but during the civil unrest in the Rhenish Republic period, the City Hall was stormed by a group of separatists who caused serious damage both of its interior and exterior. During the World War II, Aachen City Hall was heavily damaged by bombing raids, especially those occurring 13 July 1943 and 11 April 1944. On 14 July 1943, the roof of the building and both towers burned, and afterwards the structure retained a distinctive shape due to the heat that twisted the steel skeleton inside the tower cups. The coronation hall was also heavily damaged, and the north-facing wall was moved in places up to 30 centimeters vertically. The imminent threat of collapse was staved off through the use of emergency beams that held the structure in place. Because of rain penetrating the interior of the building as well as its frescoes were severely affected. 5 of the 8 frescoes were removed by Franz Stewie and stored at Sauermond Ludwig Museum. In 1945, the architect Otto Gruber and the engineer Richard Stomp prepared a report on the structural integrity of the building. With the help of Professor Joseph Perlit, the dilapidated north facade was reinforced with steel and tension bars, and in 1946, the building's roof was repaired by using makeshift sheets of zinc. After structural analysis was conducted and the foreground reinforced, the replacement of the north facade took place since almost all of the arches were broken. The arches on the ground were closed for repairs in 1950, and the reconstruction of the Emperor Hall was largely completed by 1953, with the configuration of the room following in the next few years. The question of how the tower caps should be rebuilt remained at the heart of controversial discussion. In 1966, Professor William K. Fisher, who greatly contributed to the reconstruction of Aachen, wrote a draft for the tower's design. The students from RWTH Aachen University also took part of the debate, submitting 24 designs of consideration. In 1968, 8 additional expert designs were submitted to a working group whose mission was to rebuild the towers, and after discussing several modern samples, the group agreed on a design proposed by conservation restoration expert Lee Hogot, who insisted on the historical image of the towers. The tower cups were finally finished in 1978. Nowadays, the replicas of the imperial regalia from the Viennese imperial treasury are located in the City Hall. The replicas were made around 1915 by order of Emperor William II for an exhibition to commemorate 31 coronations that took place in Aachen between 813 and 1531. The replicas include a copy of Vienna Coronation Gospel, the Sabri of Charlemagne, the imperial crown of Otto I, and the imperial orb. Since 2009, Aachen City Hall has been a part of the Route Charlemagne, a tour program by which historical sites of Aachen are presented to visitors. At the City Hall, a museum exhibition explains the history of art of building and gives a sense of historical coronation banquet that took place in the past. Among the replicas, the tourist can also discover the portrait of Napoleon from 1807 by Louis-André Gabriel Boucher and one of his wife Josephine from 1805 by Robert Lefebvre. The City Hall is still the residence of the mayor of Aachen and of the city council. The annual Charlemagne Prize is awarded in the City Hall of Aachen. Besides serving administrative purposes over the centuries, today's Aachen City Hall also houses 2 museums. The first is the International Newspaper Museum, which boasts a collection of over 200,000 newspapers from around the world in various languages. The second museum is dedicated to Charlemagne and his era, offering visitors a deep dive into life during this significant period in European history.